we got ourselves a new MCU series. Yeah. I really gotta get better at these intros. Alright, how's everyone doing? My name is Tico, and we're starting up another vlog series. This is going to be Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Man, like I said in my WandaVision review, of the 3 MCU shows that were announced for Disney Plus so far, well, actually, there have been other shows, but of the main 3 that are coming out in this part of the year, this is the one I was most excited for, and from this first episode, it's definitely promising a lot. I mean, I knew going into it they were going to show us pretty much the setup of the show, of the series, because you don't think you definitely aren't expecting a Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 thing in this, and this really does just feel like it's the first act of this series, and I don't mind that. I don't mind it at all, and just there was a lot of good stuff in this, and just a lot of development as well, because again, you're just setting up the whole series. So I'm just gonna talk about the I think just because of the fact that Falcon is one of my, well, actually, scratch that. That was creepy. Every single superhero that has the ability to fly, whether it's or just to be able to get some airtime, so like whether it's Spider-Man swinging through the city, or Batman gliding through the city, or in this case, Falcon flying through a canyon, dodging missiles, helicopters, and chasing guys in oh my god, glider suits. Oh my gosh, was that awesome! I loved the entirety of that action sequence. I just love it. I love fight sequences, especially when they're kind of like race against the clock, because it was Bellatrix the Leap. I think, I forget, the dude that Cap fought in Winter Soldier at the beginning, the French dude with his specialty is leg fighting and stuff like that. I really don't know these terms. They're chasing. So Sam has to chase Falcon, I guess, if we're gonna go with code names. So Falcon has a mission where he has to rescue this soldier from them, and he has to get there before they cross the border, or else you won't be able to pursue. And so it is kind of a race against the clock. And at first I actually thought he wasn't going to be able to do it, because they definitely build it up like he's not, because there's he screws up, he gets outplayed a few times, his wingsuit gets damaged, and it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to complete the mission, but he actually pulls it off, and it's a really cool and it's really cool. Like when he actually does it, you feel like, yeah, it was well deserved, and it was a well-earned victory, and just you actually feel glad that you actually feel happy that it's done. Like, usually when they do missions like this in other movies, you're like, yeah, we know it's gonna happen, we know it's gonna save him, yada yada yada. But this one, you actually weren't 100% certain, because especially with how this episode is setting up both Sam and Bucky. And funny thing, they're completely separate in this episode. They don't interact with one another at all in this episode. It's just focusing on what's going on with Sam and focusing on what's going on with Bucky. And that is pretty much the best way to set this up, in my opinion, because, the only thing that was really keeping them together was Captain America, or Steve Rogers. And so with him gone, I guess, they're pretty much split. And they're just going on their life and trying to live their lives while also trying to right some wrongs, because both of them were dusted. I'm not going to call it blip, dusted, whatever you guys like to prefer. Both of them were gone for 5 years, and so them coming back and seeing Cap for one last time, and then Cap's just gone, pretty much. Now they have to live their lives, and 5 years, a lot can happen in 5 years. And for Sam's case, his sister, his sister, obviously without her brother, you know, she kind of had a struggle with raising her kids, and that's the other thing, you know, Sam is an uncle, and he said he's like these two guys, he's like he's like one day they're infants or toddlers, the next day they're freaking kids. It's like it's crazy, and so he really puts the pressure on him to try and keep everything afloat, like because he doesn't want to lose his family's boat. He doesn't want to lose anything from his sister, because the fact that he was gone for 5 years, and they do bring that up. It's like there is a moment where they make this. I don't know whether to say it's just a stupid line or just like. Yeah, there's a moment where they're at the bank and they're trying to get a loan to help pay for the help in the present, and then the teller says you have zero income for the last 5 years. It's like, yeah, so does a good chunk of the population, buddy. So and the other part is actually it's kind of weird because from the trailers and just the fact that it's called Falcon and Winter Soldier, that the main question was who is really going to be the next Captain America, because you know the way Endgame left it seemed like it was going to be Falcon, but then the trailers started popping up and we weren't 100% certain. And based off of this episode, I think this series is going to be kind of, in my opinion, this is kind of just Sam. I think the series is going to be partially Sam becoming the Captain America. I almost said Winter Soldier. We'll talk about him in a second, but because the beginning of the episode is, you know, Sam is taking the shield to the government, and you know they have the ceremony for Cap, and then they honor him with this he gives him the shield back, and then he has this talk with Rhodes or Rhodey, whichever one, and you know Rhodey's like, why'd you turn it down? And you know, because that was the thing, like Sam, there was a moment where you could have argued Sam could have said like, he may be gone and now there's a time for a new Captain America, and then he gave the shield to me because he believes I'm the next one. But Sam turned it down because, like he said in Endgame, the shield felt like it belonged to someone else, and he said it belonged to Steve. And so he's kind of basically saying there's only ever going to be one Captain America, and it was him. So we can't really rely on another Captain America. We gotta rely on our own heroes. And so I thought at first that was a pretty noble thing, because you know, like, I mean, I kind of got far from home in my head after that too, because you know, Spider-Man, the part of that movie was people Spidey having to decide if he was going to be the next Iron Man, but in reality, you can't really be the next Iron Man. You got to be your own thing, and that's another lesson. It's like, if you try to be something, if you try to take up a mantle and be someone else, then you're not really being you. You know, you got to be your own thing. And so that's what I was thinking this part of the series was going to be, and maybe they will do that. Maybe Sam will stay as Falcon, or maybe be a combo Captain, you know, I almost said Captain Falcon. I almost said that without catching myself, and then I caught myself, and now I'm thinking of Captain Falcon. I mean, it would be cool. American Falcon? Captain Falcon? Yeah. Falcon America? Okay, this is already bad. Yeah, so that's pretty much Sam. I'll talk about the ending after I talk about Bucky, because that whole Bucky's story at first, I mean, I get where they were going with, because it starts with him experiencing a nightmare that he had and it was about one of his old missions that he did, and so like he you know, he's somewhere in Europe, I think they said. He takes out the target, but then he also took out a kid that witnessed the whole thing. And even though the kid was like, you know, the kid was like, I didn't see anything, trying to save him, trying to get himself out of the situation. He was pretty much screwed the second it happened, because like they say in the episode, wrong place, wrong time, and you know, Bucky experiences the nightmare, but then he also we find out that he has a psychiatrist. Kind of makes sense. It's mandatory for him to visit the psychiatrist because it's part of his pardon, and she's trying to, you know, Bucky is, it's interesting to watch Bucky talk in this, and because it is kind of mental for him, you know, because he spent so many years as this mindless weapon, and now he finally has and like he also says in the episode that he's basically been doing nothing but going from battle to battle for years. And I mean, he's like, and you know, he's like, I was battling in World War II, and then I got frozen, and I was just doing all these assassinations, and then I did my battle in the MCU, and now I'm here. He's like, after Endgame, he's like, now I'm here, and he's like doing this, and it's like, but I also like how it's not just, you know, because the psychiatrist is, at first you think the psychiatrist is just like, okay, all you got to do is just not think about it. No, she actually kind of is encouraging him to right his wrongs. And in this case, his righting his wrongs is him going after every single person that used him, basically. Like, they have this bit where he I think he blackmails slash he actually just, okay, there's this Congress lady that, or was it a Congress lady or just something, so like this politician who was, I'm pretty sure, a part of Hydra, that used Bucky to help get into power or get into the government the system, and so he goes in and he blackmails her by putting a bug in her car, and then he is able to take control of the car and lead her to the cops. And I love the 3 rules that they have. It's like, rule number 1, follow the law. Rule, like, it's like, did you follow the steps? Yes. Step number, he's like, yeah, what's step number 1? And it's like, follow the law. Yeah. And he's like, then did you do step number 2? Step number 2, don't harm anyone. And I love, and then they show the clip of him, like, there's 2 people in the car. He grabs the guy in the passenger seat and, like, I think breaks his arm. And he's like, they cut back to Bucky with the psychiatrist. He's like, why isn't that rule number 1? It's just, yeah, it's a good question. Why is that not rule number 1? And then they go to rule number 3, and it's like, my name is Bucky Barnes, and I'm trying to make my with, and I'm like, really? Is that really how you want to do all of that? I mean, I get it. It's like him saying it to himself would make sense, but the fact that he has to say it to every single person he that is wrong, that either has wronged him or he's wronged them, is stupid. I mean, for people that he wronged, I get it, but for people that wronged him, what the freaking heck? Yeah, it's kind of this ridiculous thing, and then it gets somber and uncomfortable when he goes and meets up with this old guy who's an Asian, and I thought for a second it was like a World War II vet, and that's kind of because, you know, he's talking to this guy like he's known him. And it seems like, yeah, it's like this, because it kind of looked like the one, the one, I can't get these names, I can't. So, the one dude who is Asian, but he's from Fresno in Captain America, the first Avenger, I thought it was him at first. And it seemed like it was going to be like that, until it gets to the part where they're at the bar, and it's after the guy got Bucky a date with the bartender. That I thought was funny. I thought that was a funny bit, because I feel like that's something that my dad would probably do that if he had the chance. I would definitely hate him for it, because I've never been on a date. Well, actually, technically speaking, that's not true. Okay, I'm way off topic. So, you know, it's like everything's going on, but then the guy brings up, like, how, or no, not him, I think it was the bartender who said it. It's like, he's had a rough since his son got killed. And it was at that moment, and then no, it wasn't then. It was when the guy said wrong place, wrong time. That's when I was like, I got it then. I'm like, because and for those who haven't seen the episode, I guess really late spoiler talk now. Like the kid that was caught, that was at the wrong place at the wrong time when in Bucky's flashback in Nightmare, it's the same kid, and they do drop hints throughout the episode. They do drop hints, but then they do kind of do the reveal near the end of the episode of Bucky's storyline in this episode. And I like how it's not even, they don't even say the kid's name, or at least like they like put the pieces or like spell it out for you. Like the only thing they really do is like Bucky goes to the guy, like opens up the door, and you see like this shrine of the kid in the background, and they show like the picture, and then Bucky sees it, and he's like, and so then you realize, oh, that's why he's been hanging out with this guy, because he wants to make amends with him. But he never says, obviously he really can't tell him the truth, because that would be weird. He's like, yeah, remember we've been hanging out this whole time? I killed your son. Yeah, it's kind of hard to bring that topic up. So, he goes in, he just gives the guy, he gives the guy the money that he owed him for, and then he leaves, and then he crosses the name off this list that he has of people that he has to make amends with. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting to see this side of Bucky, especially after all the madness we've had him been through. Like, we see, like when you think of Bucky in the MCU, you do think of all the more badass moments. You don't really think of all the sentimental moments that he's had. I mean, there are a few, but there's not enough there to say, yeah, that's really the major part of his character. So I like this really being the main focus of this, and I imagine that's what's going to be throughout this series, is obviously him coming to terms with everything he's done, and just him becoming his own thing too. So yeah, but that's not where this episode. Okay. Also, another mention is we do get the threat of these new terrorist group, and as Sam points out, very terrible name. I know it's from the comics, but still, the Flag Smashers. God. And it is an interesting idea that they do bring up, is the fact that the Flag Smashers, from what they are told, is a terrorist group that wants to bring back the old ways, and by old ways they mean like the 5-year, like what the world was like in the 5-year gap. It's that those 5 years, it's like they claim that the world was more united when it was like that, So basically, kind of like Thanos, they're kind of like a following of Thanos, because Thanos said, wipe out half the population, all problems solved, pretty much. So that's kind of what this group is going for, and it's kind of easy to go for when they have some superpower humans on this. Like, they have this one dude who is, from what I saw, he's got some abilities. Like, he jumps out of a building, lands without any trouble. He smacks a guy across a street and into a wall. I thought he killed the agent that Falcon was working with, Torres, I believe the guy's name is, and he kind of is a kid too. He's kind of like a kid. Like, he just takes the guy, slams him on the ground, and then curb stops him. And I thought he killed him, because just you see this like kind of like this huge cut on the guy's side of the head, and I thought he killed him instantly, and I was like, oh crap. But at the same time, I'm like, dang, they killed him. He doesn't die. He's not dead. He's able to relay the information back to Sam and tell him that this threat's kind of getting bigger, but then there's also something else that happens, and that's the fact that the government, without the consent of anyone, it's kind of like yeah, it's kind of weird. They select a new Captain America. We don't know his name yet, or I think the actor, I'm pretty sure they said who's the actor playing him. I don't know who. I haven't checked yet. I really don't have a lot of time to do stuff, to go and double check stuff like this. Like, even doing this vlog, like, I have a really tight schedule. Like, I have to, once I finish up this video, I have to go do something school related, and then after that I'll come back and I'll probably do my Amphibia vlogs and like my episode for the night, and I might try and get the Justice League Snyder Cut vlog in there too, because I just finished that up. So yeah, this is a lot. So my overall opinion of the episode, good setup, good first act setup for this series. I'm really excited to see where it's gonna go. I mean, from the trailers, we kind of know what is yet to come, and who has yet to be introduced. And yeah, I'm excited. I mean, if we get action sequence, I mean, we still have some action sequences from the trailer that we haven't seen yet. But if we get some like that fight sequence through the canyon, and I'm in. I mean, oh my god, that was awesome. Oh, it was so cool. I'm seeing even the little drone that Sam has just literally do work. It had pulse cannons. It had rockets. It even had a minigun. That was so cool. It was so cool to watch. Yeah, but okay. All right. Yeah, I'm really going on. Okay. Yeah. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Can't wait this. I'm excited for episode 2 next week. Oh yeah, I forgot to completely mention this episode, New World Order. Little fun fact about that name, that title is, well, not for like MCU, not for like Marvel related purposes. That I've seen that title being used in one other piece of entertainment, and that was in Batman the Telltale series. That was the name of that was the title of the 3rd episode, New World Order. So I thought that's a little cool snippet. So, all right. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.